Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? My name is Razorian Book, and I've gotten a lot of new subscribers from the Magic community thanks to the Magic Breakdown videos I've been doing, so I wanted to thank you very much, and I thought I'd make a brand new Magic Breakdown video, and this is a really interesting one. We have Eric Chien here, and he magically makes a really boring television show into something kind of entertaining. He also does a whole bunch of stuff with M&ms, so I guess we'll get into that as well. So let's just get into it, okay? So at the beginning of the trick here, he does this little magic coin trick, and it really doesn't have anything to do with the majority of the tricks, so I really feel like it was unnecessary, but let's look into it. There's not a lot to get from this video. Anyone that's studied magic for a while, this part probably isn't that impressive. I could be wrong. I don't really know that much about magic, but basically he takes two coins, one's copper, one's silver. He puts one in the guy's hand, and he holds the other one out, and then he magically switches the coins. So there is a little cutscene here where they don't really show him putting the coins back in the person's hand, so it's kind of hard to tell what happened here. You can still see the coin in his hand, but it doesn't give off a lot of information. So unfortunately there's not a whole lot to pull from that, but let's just get into the really good stuff, eh? So he pulls out a bowl and a case of M&ms. He pours the M&ms inside. Yeah, looks yummy. Now, at this point, he actually reaches his hand under the table and grabs the Rubik's Cube right there. He reaches under. Boom, he's got the Rubik's Cube in his palm now. So the first time he puts his hand into the bowl, he doesn't put the Rubik's Cube in there. Then he lifts his hand up, pours some M&ms out, and you can see the Rubik's Cube in his hand right there. And then his hand goes down, and he grabs the Rubik's Cube with his other hand, pours some M&ms in there, and drops the Rubik's Cube out. Okay, there's no M&ms or anything around the Rubik's Cube. The Rubik's Cube is sitting there. He puts his hands over top, and it looks like the Rubik's Cube moves in the left direction. I find that really, really interesting. So I don't know how this small Rubik's Cube gets solved by itself. However, I'm gonna just speculate that the Rubik's Cube has electronics inside it, and it probably solves itself under his hands. There's no evidence to support that, but I don't see how else it could be done. It doesn't look like this guy is in on it or anything like that. His hands don't seem to move, except for the one moment where the Rubik's Cube seems to move by itself. So now he reaches in to grab a bunch of M&ms, and this happens. So I've zoomed in and I've slowed this down, and what it looks like is the Rubik's Cube is coming from behind the table. So here you don't see anything, and then all of a sudden there it is. And it's behind his hands. There's his fingers, and the Rubik's Cube seems like it's being shot out because it jumps over the pile of M&ms. and then lands right on top. So that's my theory. I think it comes out from behind the table. How? I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of machine that does something like that. I have no clue. But that's my theory. And in this section of the magic trick, the Rubik's Cube gets solved in midair in front of everyone's eyes. Basically, I just think it was a pre-setup, so it's pretty much solved already. You can see there's two blues here, there's two white beside each other. Here we have 4 yellows that are already together. On the bottom side we have 3 blues already together, 2 reds, 3 oranges. On this side we have 3 whites, 2 red. So yeah, I think with only a couple turns of the Rubik's Cube, it could pretty much be solved. It's only like 2 turns away from being solved. And then I believe he uses his fingers really quick to just solve the Rubik's Cube. And you can kind of see that here. I believe that's the bottom one being turned. See here, you can see his pinkies turning one of the sides. And clearly there, the other side got turned. So basically the Rubik's Cube was almost solved. It only took 2 or 3 turns, and he just used his pinky and his first finger while shaking the cube, so it was harder to tell what was going on. I have a buddy that's really into Rubik's Cubes, and maybe I'll ask him if he can pull off something like that to see if it's actually doable. He could probably give a lot of good insight to whether the Rubik's Cube was actually 3 turns away from being solved, but I mean, it clearly looked like that to me. But what do I know? I'm just a video editor guy thing. Except here he's going to turn the smaller Rubik's Cube into M&Ms. But I find it really interesting. He puts his hand over the Rubik's Cube, but for whatever reason, he's looking at this Rubik's Cube, which isn't the main focus at this point in the trick. There is no reason for him to be looking at that. And he lifts it up in the air like something's going to happen, but nothing happens. So basically he's just trying to get everyone to draw their attention, plus the cameraman, to look at this while something else goes on with the smaller Rubik's Cube off screen. See, even the camera zooms up to go, oh, what's going on over here? Meanwhile, I think he's doing something down on the table. See, now he brings the Rubik's Cube up, which has magically turned into chocolate. But we didn't see what went on there because the camera wasn't watching. But now we have this part of the trick where he turns this Rubik's Cube into M&Ms by throwing it against the table, and I don't believe I have an answer for this, but we're gonna look into it. I suppose he flips it, he throws it down, so that's the white side, and it looks like the M&Ms are breaking apart before it even hits the table. And that's what all these lines are, is motion blur. It does look like the Rubik's Cube was hollow. I believe a lot more M&Ms would be shooting out if it was completely solid. I kind of find it interesting that we have the white side of the Rubik's Cube, and then we have the white M&Ms breaking off before it hits the table. But when it hits the table, where are all the white M&Ms. All of a sudden, we have a bunch of yellow motion blur, but not a whole lot of white. Now, is that anything? I don't know. Probably just a coincidence. So unfortunately, I don't have the answers for you, but we do have one more part coming up. So now we have this part where he takes a bunch of M&Ms, turns it into confetti, and it flies into the air. First, he pours the M&Ms into his hand from the bowl, and his hand directly goes under the table to grab whatever it is he needs to grab. Right there. So whatever it is that he's grabbing is under the table, and he's got it in his hand. So now he slowly pours the M&Ms out of his hand. You can see it fall on the ground, while the confetti shoots upwards. And there is an angle where you can kind of see his hand, but it's really hard to tell what's going on there. This thumb seems to be doing some interesting things. See, it goes down, brings it back up, it goes way back down, and then he keeps it down for a little bit. See, that's not normal. That's not like a normal person when keep their thumb stuck down like that. So maybe there's something going on there. I don't have any proof, but I'm just saying that's a little odd. Yo, special update. I was halfway through editing this video when I noticed something very interesting. So, he's shooting the confetti up in the air. And while he's doing that, confetti is dropping from the ceiling. But it doesn't drop where he is because the wind is blowing the confetti up. So it's just dropping around him. And then when he stops and all the confetti's out of his hands, then the wind seems to turn off so the confetti can land in front of him. However, going back to this wide shot, I don't know if this has anything to do with the trick or not, but way above him in the ceiling, we have some wind blowing the confetti up. Right there. Now this could have something to do with the stage. The television company might have some kind of blowers up there for the confetti dropping from the ceiling. I don't know. Maybe it has absolutely nothing to do with Eric Chien's trick, but it is something that I found really interesting and wanted to point out. So if you look close in this clip, he's got some confetti in his mouth, and I believe that is what is causing the confetti to fly up into the air. I'm just joking. I don't believe that's the cause. Okay, let's move on. So just like the last magic breakdown video I did, I wanted to point out a few things that I researched into, but it looks like it has absolutely nothing to do with how the magic trick was performed. And the first thing I wanted to point out is this guy messes with the Rubik's Cube, and then he hides it underneath his hands. But to me it looks like that has absolutely nothing to do with the magic trick. I don't think he was in on it or anything like that. The second thing I researched is when this Rubik's Cube pops out of the M&Ms, it looks like it's going at a very fast pace. And I wanted to see if the video was possibly sped up at that point. So I was looking at the background here of the images on the screen to see if these little sparks of energy move any faster or quicker, and it turns out that they don't. I was also wondering if this coin necklace that he has could possibly be the mechanism that's blowing the confetti up into the air, but when that part of the trick happens, his necklace actually isn't showing, so that's definitely not a thing. There is this point in the video where he moves this case of M&Ms over a smudge, and I don't know why he did that. There's no purpose for it. However, upon going over this video quite a few times, I think he's literally just moving the package of M&Ms to get it out of the way. Now there's one last thing that I want to point out, and that's the screen behind him that's showing the performance to the audience. And if you look closely, you'll actually notice that there is a slight delay. So the audience sees everything moments after it's actually done, like a fraction of a second. But that's not what's that interesting. I find it really interesting that the performance that we're watching is the exact performance that was filmed at the time that they were filming. So there was actually no editing after the fact. And I've gone through this entire video, and at all points, it looks like the exact same camera angles were being used. So in the past, I've actually said that it was possible that they were editing the video afterwards, before putting it on television, but this actually proves me wrong. Really, what this proves is that what they're filming at the time is actually what they're showing everybody on television. So that's just something I wanted to point out. Is very interesting. So that's my breakdown of this video. I think maybe I figured out a few tricks, but there's definitely some tricks in here that I don't know how he did, but it's a very good performance, very entertaining to watch, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he has to perform for us next. If you like this video, smash the like button and hit subscribe if you want more videos, and let me know in the comments section if you want me to break down any other magic videos. I would love to do that for you. And until next time, play safe, and good luck with your journeys of doing whatever it is you do. Be likey.